The corridors of power are often silent, but tonight, whispers of a revelation echo through the shadows that blanket the ancient walls of the royal palace. The air is heavy with anticipation, like the charged silence before a thunderstorm, hinting at untold secrets and hidden truths waiting in the wings. A tremor of suspense races through those who serve the crown, forever altering the beating heart of this monarchy's legacy. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. In this unfolding saga, a mystery constructs itself, one that has lived in the clandestine smiles of the nobility, in the cryptic sidelong glances exchanged over candlelit feasts. It is no ordinary riddle, but rather a secret veiled by the weight of time and tradition. In gilded rooms where alliances are forged and broken, two figures emerge into the light while spectres of the past whisper the promises of untold legacies. They bear the marks of nobility and the heavy crown of destiny, with aspirations soaring like eagles yet shrouded in clouds of uncertainty. Echoes of their forebears' struggles resound through their veins, casting long shadows of ancient glories and wounds, yet to mend. For the monarchy sees not just the triumphs inscribed in marble, but also scars etched in memory. It is the interplay of light and dark, success and suffering, an eternal dance, captivating in its complexity, that dictates their every move. As secrets unravel, one wonders, can this lineage withstand the pressure mounting from the recesses of its lineage, stay as the plot thickens and the enigma unravels with revelations that threaten to rewrite history itself? As twilight descended upon the ancient kingdom, casting an ethereal glow over the colossal fortress, an unsettling stillness enveloped the land. Whispers of a forbidden legend traversed the corridors, reverberating through the mosaic archways and into the very heart of the monarchy. Patrician bloodlines, carefully woven through centuries, bore the weight of an untold secret, a secret locked away beneath layers of dust and duty, a secret too monstrous to speak aloud. In the quiet sanctity of his chamber, Prince Alaric unearthed records of history abandoned, parchments that boasted tales unfit for daylight. The truth, hidden beneath regal veneers, unraveled with each word, each scribe's mark trembling with the energy of a storm, confined. It was a narrative stained with betrayal, alliances crafted under the shrouded moon, and promises mired in blood. Buried deeper than mere royal lineage, these were the cries of those who dared whisper truths forbidden by ancestry, the very whispers that dared snip the marionette string holding the kingdom intact. Alaric's heart raced, pounding fiercely against his chest, like a war drum signaling the onset of battle. His breath caught as he realized the significance of his findings, a lineage riddled with dark pacts and forgotten rulers who fell victim to their ambition. His shoulders, once strong and unyielding like granite, sagged beneath the crushing weight of ancestral sins. He was not just a pawn in a legacy of grandeur, but a potential king clawing against the tide of hidden histories. This wasn't mere governance, it was a chessboard, where every move was cloaked in shadows, and every ally bore a knife hidden beneath thinly veiled loyalty. Alaric would no longer be silent, no longer tethered by the expectation of the past. But even as realization struck him, so did the looming threat of eyes that watched with awareness keen and unforgiving, the eyes of a monarchy rooted in secrets, secrets that some would kill to keep hidden. Yet hope flickered, a dim yet persistent torch held aloft against the encroaching darkness, while Alaric stood on the precipice between revelation and ruin. His journey pivoted, not just on understanding the web spun by ancestors past, but on the choice yet to be made, to uphold the veneer of regal perfection or brave the chaotic yet liberating truth that lied beneath. Unity or dissonance, peace or calamity, his choice alone would steer the tide. And as dawn threatened to break upon the horizon, casting light on gilded towers and feral hearts alike, the prince recognized the monumental task ahead. A tale long suppressed, now begged for an audience, a story not just of a kingdom, but of a dynasty tied inextricably to its own forbidden tale. In the heart of grandeur and opulence, where the gilded walls hide a multitude of secrets, Edward found himself ensnared in an irrefutable turmoil, hidden from the sumptuously adorned chambers and the watchful eyes of an expectant court. Always meticulous in the projection of poised elegance, Edward's world was anything but serene beneath the surface. Whispers of his private torment echoed through the hallowed halls, where chandeliers glistened overhead like silent witnesses to the storm brewing inside him. His nights were woven with shadows, memories that clung to the periphery of his mind, turning his bedchamber into a theatre of doubt and longing. What his title demanded, he could hardly reconcile with the relentless tide of his desires and doubts, making every dawn a taut act of defiance against his own heart's deepest cries. The pride of a crown juxtaposed against the weight of its expectations made each royal gathering an arduous masquerade. The citizens' cheers, warm and hopeful, would punctuate his regal strides, yet their acceptance seemed to cascade off him like rain from a polished statue. No one knew the extent to which his thoughts veered, the winding corridors of his palace mind, playing host to relentless debates, echoing back and forth with all the veracity of his churning soul. What future could hold its promise? Could he forge a path that was not outlined in the annals of monarchs past? These were the questions that traced lines across his brow, invisible to those whose only salvation lied in his supposed certainty. As public duty drew him to the fore, with expectations of bravery and conviction, Edward's inner battlefield remained cacophonous with unanswered pleas, each jest from his courtiers, a piercing reminder that the jest was his own life, lived in perpetual conflict. In every gallant tale woven around his lineage, he found himself nestled between the cruel honesty of lightning truths and the tender embrace of sought-after lies. His heart, stubborn and red with vigor, raged against notions of conformity, yet inside chambers sighed the sweet scent of tradition, now both a sanctuary and his fiercest jailer. Every clandestine rendezvous cast a clandestine illumination upon the struggle he'd hoped to call his sole companion. Friends tested loyalty with curious eyes and ears, more keen than any night-born sentry. Neither faltering nor yielding, Edward's heart wandered beyond the limits drawn by heritage stern but tender hands, searching, in the dark, for the threads of a destiny untouched by the golden fetters of sovereignty. In the twisting labyrinth of duty and desire, a feeble hope flickered, lighting whispers of what might come to pass, if not crushed under the metaphoric, yet very real weight of his station. Hook and transition line, and thus, in the throes of a haunt, conscience and the cloak of affluence, Edward inched closer to a precipice where shadows and light wove tales unspoken, their culmination still to be forged in choices yet to be made. The grand halls of the palace were alive with an air of significance that reached far beyond the gilded walls. Within this opulent maze, subtle currents of murmur and intrigue ran thick. Hidden behind the facade of royal protocol and opulence, the whispers grew louder, quick, like shadows darting beneath a sliver of moonlight. These whispers were both a balm and a poison, hinting at truths too dangerous to be spoken aloud, yet too crucial to be kept silent. Rumors, like seeds caught in a gale, scattered throughout the court. The bonds of trust, once ironclad and revered, began to fray like tapestry left too long in the sun. Whispers of alliances being formed and broken in secret meetings, of coup plotting and betrayal, filled the corridors. As scandals emerged, slowly peeling away the regal veneer, the nerve-tingling sensation of being constantly watched intensified. Each courtier's glance became both a weapon and a shield. Yet, amid the tension, a sinister calm held the court in a stifling grip, like the stillness before a storm that would shake the very foundations of powermanship. Courtiers with eyes like hawks balanced on the precipice of hope and trepidation, plotting in silence as the once stable echoes of the palace hallways turned into haunting echoes of uncertainty. Each step taken along those polished floors held more weight than 100 spoken words, each breath a potential threat. People became pawns in a game as old as time, caught in a savage dance between dedication and deception. Desperation clung to noble robes like the dew of a cursed morning, as the line between ally and adversary blurred until indistinguishable. But beneath it all, the tendrils of revolt began, weaving through the stony corridors, waiting for the moment to strike with the agility of a wounded beast, seeking recompense. Secrets, like the age-old stone that formed the palace walls, began to crack and reveal the roiling tempest within, leaving all to wonder where the storm would land. And just as darkness seems all-consuming, a glimmer of light forces its way through, the tantalizing promise of dawn, sparking fires of hope in unexpected hearts. How long the tenuous peace would hold was another question, unanswered by the whispers alone. For in the corridors of power, shadows might conceal more corners that only time would tell if they could transform them too. Whispers echoed through twisted corridors, where every shadow seemed to conspire against the light, where silence bore secrets as treacherous as knives. In these hallowed halls, beneath grand tapestries spun with the tales of valorous monarchs, long gone, truth was a dangerously elusive quarry. With each passing unspoken moment, the weight of history grew heavier, threatening to crumble under its own deceit. The royals stood at a precipice, an empire teetering between the glorious light of revelation and the consuming darkness of denial. The heart of this dilemma, pulsing and persistent, was Lord Yuan, a man woven into the tapestry of the court, yet as enigmatic as his shadowed past. His presence had become a glaring beacon of mystery that demanded illumination. Who was this man, holding such sway over their destinies? A mere servant to the crown, or the puppet master, guiding the strings invisibly? Hidden beneath layers of time and loyalty, answers awaited with bated breath. A storm brewed not just in the skies, but in the hearts of those who circled closer to the center of power. As the court gathered, eyes met furtively, each glance loaded with suspicion, alliances forming and fracturing in the blink of an eye. Whispered alliances made in corners, weighed heavy amidst the echo of ancient stone. The confrontation, inevitable as the rising sun, waited for the hand to finally pull back the curtain that concealed the truth. Would it reveal a tale of honor, or expose the rot of betrayal festering at the kingdom's heart? The very air seemed charged with anticipation, thick with the scent of fate as they waited for the doors to judgment to open. Each heartbeat amplified the tension, pounding like a distant drum, heralding both revolution and revelation. Then, in a moment that seemed to suspend time, the truth finally stood naked and unforgiven. With every word, the room seemed to ripple with disbelief, the walls echoing the gasps as if they too were shocked by their long-held silence. Lord Yuan, with unflinching calm, unraveled a tapestry of deception spun across generations. Each thread, once hidden in plain sight, now glistened with the light of veracity. The reality unfolded gently, yet with an unstoppable force, seizing the court with the abrupt realization of a kingdom's foundation built on deadly lies. As trust shattered and fell like broken glass, those assembled faced a choice as old as the monarchy itself. Embrace the chilling truth, or retreat into comforting ignorance. The revelations, stark and unbidden, demanded more than blood or penance. They called for a reckoning that would shake the very roots of the golden crown. Anguish and acceptance warred openly in every heart. The boundaries blurred between friend and foe, ally and adversary. Slowly, the royal chamber emptied of its spectators, each soul now burdened with the weight of a new world, a different moral compass. But as the candles burned lower, leaving shadows to dance upon the stone, one question remained, lingering like a ghost, in the battle between truth and power. Who would truly conquer? And as the kingdom faced its tomorrow, the alluring whispers of the past lingered, unforgotten, unresolved, promises of a reckoning yet to be fulfilled. Whispers of discontent had begun to rise from the cobblestones of the kingdom, creeping through alleyways and into grand halls with an insistent urgency. The kingdom had once shimmered under a facade of unity, a glorious legacy carefully sculpted over centuries, but that illusion was now cracking. The voices of the common folk, so long ignored, grew louder, transforming from murmurs into a cacophony of disapproval that snaked its way toward the heart of the monarchy. These were not ephemeral complaints. They were the cries of a populace betrayed by the promises of prosperity and justice. Promises once so boldly emblazoned upon banners and declarations. The grievances were numerous, each adding weight to the mounting discontent. The suffocating taxes, the unfulfilled oaths, the disparity that widened with each passing decree. Frustration bubbled beneath the surface, a dormant volcano simmering with latent fury. Something had to give. A storm brewed beneath the glistening turrets of the castle, where opulent feasts continued in defiance of the storm clouds darkening outside. Yet behind the jeweled courtyards and within the hierarchy of power, anxiety reigned. Those who held the reins of authority felt the shift. The very air was thick with the gravity of transformation. Eyes that once glanced with affection now held a skeptical gleam. Alliances once solid began to fracture, their foundations crumbling under the weight of dissent. Still, the unabated dignity of the crown stood firm, radiating an aura of stoic obduracy, while battling the relentless tide of reproach. But amidst these trials, subtle forces worked tirelessly from within and without, each challenge melding seamlessly into the next, like a cascade of unforeseen events, three a toe, tending to unravel the tightly woven tapestry of royal control. Clandestine meetings were held in the shadowed recesses of the realm, secretive congregations where allegiances were questioned, foes were unveiled, and loyalists stood conflicted. Within these gatherings, a dangerous fire was kindling, igniting the braziers of revolution. Characters with agendas both noble and dark emerged from obscurity, ready to exploit the kingdom's vulnerabilities. Their scheming lent momentum to the backlash, shaping public opinion with deft precision and promises of a new dawn. Yet, in the tumult, one truth resounded like an ominous bell toll in the corridors of power. The throne's once unquestioned sanctity was now questioned by those it was sworn to protect. The crown, no longer an unshakable symbol, trembled precariously on the brink of infamy as the public united in their dissatisfaction, prepared to make their stand known. Amid such a turbulent cascade of events, a sense of inevitable confrontation loomed ever closer. A confrontation that would test the very essence of the kingdom itself. In the grand hall of mirrored memories, where echoes of the past danced with whispering shadows, the echoes of decisions long made began to surface. The weight of 1,000 unspoken words pressed heavily upon the air, as if the marble floors themselves held their breath, witnessing the unraveling of years. It was in this moment of profound stillness that the king found himself face to face with the ghosts of his own making. The palace, usually filled with a chatter of courtiers and the shuffle of hurried feet, seemed strangely empty. Silence became a symphony, its notes filled with remorse, regret, and the faintest glimmer of hope. Here, reflection was not an idle pastime. It was the crown's heaviest burden. In the majesty of solitude, truth cut deeper than any blade, something the king knew all too well. He understood now that the battles he had fought, for power, for prestige, for a legacy that not even time could tarnish, had left scars deeper than any sword's edge. The victories had been magnificent, their triumphs sung from rooftops. But in the quietude following the celebrations, he saw the cost etched in the eyes of those closest to him. Betrayal lingered like a spectre, a dark shadow cast by ambition, often mistaken for loyalty's twin. The corridors that had once gleamed with unrivaled confidence now resonated with lessons learned too late. The queen, who had stood as stoic as stone through torrents of ambition, now found her voice. With quiet strength, she spoke of reconciliation not as a sign of weakness, but as a healing balm for the kingdom's wounded heart. Her words, imbued with wisdom and understated grace, were a lifeline cast into the turbulent sea of noble dissent. The courtiers who once thrived on intrigue found themselves unwittingly drawn into her vision of unity, a vision that bridged chasms and mended what had been torn asunder. Hence, piece by piece, the intricate puzzle of their lives began to reassemble, not into the form it once knew, but into something greater, more attuned to the whispers of soul and spirit. As the sun's final rays painted the halls in hues of gold and amber, the king stood at the threshold of a new understanding. The shadows were receding, and with them, the corrosive holes of pride and past grievances. It was a time for embraces that acknowledged both past sorrows and future possibilities, warm and firm, yet delicate in their sincerity. In a railway of disclosed intentions, the noble families and commoners alike found a renewed dance of discourse, each step a blend of penance and promise. The sprawling narrative of their monarchy, once written in the bold strokes of conquest and intrepid ventures, began to whisper a softer, yet profoundly powerful, overture of redemption. This was a kingdom made anew, not through the clash of swords or the fervent rally cry for dominion, but in the quiet revolution of hearts and minds. A new legacy unfurled in the horizon, not of solitary supremacy, but of a sovereign narrative composed for ages to come. And as twilight descended, draping the kingdom in the gentle folds of night, the king, hand in hand with his queen, gazed towards the horizon. For in the enveloping silence, they finally understood the deepest of truths, that true power lay not in the crown or the throne, but in the courage to forgive, the strength to rebuild, and the wisdom to lead, not by force, but with unyielding compassion. As dawn broke, casting its golden mosaic across the palace walls, the monarchy stood at the cusp of a remarkable transformation. The air hummed with the promise of change, a gentle awakening that stirred not just within the halls of royalty, but vibrated through the heart of every subject. It was a shared metamorphosis, one that spoke of unity and the eternal embrace of progress. Prince Edward, having finally parted with his long-held silence, had contributed a pivotal note to the symphony of renewal. His revelations, wrapped in honesty and gentle reflection, had shed light on a path paved not with old shadows, but with the brilliance of new beginnings. As he stood amongst his kin, a quiet resolve anchored him, dedication to a future where tales of the past served as stars to guide, not chains to bind. The world awaited, ever curious, ever hopeful, watched as the monarchy penned their next chapters. These would be stories inscribed with the ink of empathy and equity, driven by the heartbeat of a nation eager to see its leaders not as rulers above, but as equals beside them, walking hand in hand towards the horizon of a shared destiny. In this rebirth, each flicker of change was a brushstroke on the grand canvas of monarchy, the tapestry woven with lessons learned and dreams unyielded. New traditions would emerge, nestled between the folds of history and future hopes. And in the gentle murmur of this new era, the echoes of a once unwritten harmony softly sang, promising that when power intertwined with compassion, greatness would surely follow.